Carla, and welcome back to the studio. And thank you for joining me for another episode of Throwback Thursday. So, for this Thursday, I'm still carrying on with the Christmas. I am featuring the Sweet Gingerbread bundle. The bundle contains the Photopolymer Sweet Gingerbread stamp set along with the gingerbread house set of dies. Now the dies do cut out the stamped images, but then there are also some other like detailed images here, like one that you can do a fence, and then there's also this one here that will cut out kind of like your snowdrift or your hill or whatever. So we're using that in both of the projects that I am doing for today. Let me move this up just a little bit because looks like we're just a little too close to the base here, and we don't need to be too close. Okay, let me just move my lights out of the way so they're not glaring off of the packaging. So the projects that I'm doing for this episode, two fairly simple cards. I have gone ahead and I've done a lot of my die cutting and some of my heat embossing ahead of time. So let me move these out of the way and let me bring in what I am using for my first card. So I am filming this. I'm doing this as an unlisted live, and I have found that by doing it this way, I can actually uh, put the video together a lot faster. 1 second, got one thing. So in the process of getting this all together, I don't have my little cheat sheet with all of my measurements, so I needed to get my little ruler. Okay, so let me bring in all these little pieces. Now, for my projects, I'm also featuring DSP, and this DSP was part of this great big pack of 12 by 12 designer series paper. This is called the Celebrate Everything designer series paper. This has a lot of colors in it. It has basic black, crushed curry, granny apple green, Pacific Point, polished pink, pool party, poppy parade, and shaded spruce. So what's really nice about this paper, it does cover a variety of different holidays, and you can see there's lots of nice bright colors on here. So I will be using this for both of the projects. So let me put that aside. And I said that was Celebrate Everything, right? Yep. Whoop. Sorry, knocking my head on the lamps, not good. Okay, so let's talk about what we have here. So I have a piece of crumb cake cardstock. This measures 8.5 by 5.5. I've already scored it at 4.25. I have a piece of that Celebrate Everything DSP. This measures 5.25 by 4, right? Yep, 5.25 by 4. Out of another piece of a scrap piece of that designer series paper, I had die cut using this drift or hill type die. Now the way this die works, when you put it on the cardstock, if your cardstock goes past this, it's not going to actually cut out a piece. It'll just cut this top part. So if you have a piece that's just a little bit shorter than that, then it will give you that whole cut. But my piece is a little bit longer. This is the same width as my other piece of DSP, so that's 1.25. And I believe when I cut this, it was about, I would say maybe about 2.5 inches. And I just laid my die over that. Let me pull that out to kind of show you. Now, because this was a little bit longer, I did line this up here. but you can see that there's more, I can't talk, sorry. That's what happens when you start, when you lose words and things don't come out the way they should, and so I apologize in advance. So this only cut down to here. So what was left here, it didn't cut. So I just came in with my paper snips and I just trimmed that at an angle just to extend that slope right there. Okay, so let me put that back in here. Okay, ahead of time, out of a scrap piece of crumb cake, I die cut the house image. Now the house image does not cut out the windows, so I cut this out of the crumb cake, and then I had stamped this image here, so all three of these little squigglies here, and the outline of the windows and the door. I stamped both of those in Versamark, and then I heat embossed using the Wow white embossing powder. So that's already done ahead of time. Okay, and then out of basic white scraps, I had die cut this icing roof here for that house. I also die cut two of the trees, two of the lollipop images. I die cut. There is the image that's for the door, and then there's two for the windows. And then I also die cut, there's a total of 3 dies in this set to die cut these gumdrops. So I die cut these and then I'm going to stamp over them. They're pretty easy to line up. So let me start with folding and burnishing this card base. Let's see if I can bring this light up a little bit more here. See if that'll be better. Okay, so then on this DSP here, I am going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. Now, because this is a photopolymer stamp set, there is no cushion, no foam cushion like with our red rubber. So that's where this comes into play. Now it helps because there's no cushion to it. It gives you a crisper, better looking stamped image. So I'm going to stamp this Have a Sweet Christmas directly onto my paper. And I am going to do that using my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So let me pull this out. Now while I'm at it, I'm going to pull out all these other stamps that I'm going to use to stamp all of my images here. So there's one stamp that does the detailed part of the windows. So I'm going to make that. Let's see, we're going to need the lollipop and the heart. And did I say that? Did I show you the piece for the heart? I don't think I did. Where's my heart? The little die cut heart is missing. Let's see. It is not in there. You need the little heart. I think I'm going to have to die cut another one because I don't see it anywhere. And you know what that means. That just means as soon as I get done with the video, then I'm going to find it. Oh no, I found it. The little package that I had in my little container over here, it fell out. So there's the little heart that I also die cut. Okay, so I think, what else do I need? I need the tree. And let's see. I think I have everything. So, oh, I need the door. Now, when I did my heat embossing, here's the image that does the window and the door outline. It's all one stamp. And then here's the one that does that little decorative icing scrolling that I had on the front. And I did not use that solid house image. Okay, so let me get this out of the way. Let me get some blocks for all of my stamps here. Should have done this before I started. We should be able to get these all on blocks fairly quickly. Oops. Okay. Space is getting a little cluttered here. All right. So, like I mentioned on this piece, I'm going to put the side that's a little bit lighter up at the top. And then I'm going to have a Sweet Christmas. I'm going to ink this up. And then I'm going to stamp this. Make sure that this is straight. And I'm going to stamp that right up here. We'll close that up. It's the only thing that I am stamping in the black. Okay. And then I'll take this and I'm going to glue this down to my card base. So I'll use some of my seal to do that. Okay. I'll place that right there. Okay. So then I'm going to take this hill piece that I did. Now I decided to go with the pattern that has the white with all these different colored polka dots. To me, it looked like sprinkles. So that's why I chose that one. And I'm going to bring in my liquid glue for this. And I'm going to add some to the bottom. And then I'm not going to go all the way up to the very top edge because those two trees, I want to tuck them behind the hill. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to line this up to the DSP. Like so. Okay, and then I'll set that aside and we'll close up the glue. So now for all these little pieces, I'm going to do my stamping. And I got my mat here. And let me bring in the colors that I will be using. So there's lots of colors that I'm using with this one. So I have Granny Apple Green, Polished Pink, Soft Suede, Coastal Cabana, and Daffodil Delight. Okay, so I'm going to put this little roof part aside here. Okay, I'm going to bring in my two trees and then my tree stamp and the Granny Apple Green. Okay, and I'm going to ink this up. And it's pretty easy to line up. And what's nice, there you go. That one lined up perfectly. And then do the same thing with this one. Now these ink pads are fairly inky, So when I stamp them, they're stamping kind of dark, but they will lighten up a little bit as they dry. Okay, so that's all we're doing with the Granny Apple Green. So let me close that up. Okay, I'll set that aside. And then for my door, so that's this larger piece here, I'm going to bring in my soft suede ink. And we're going to ink up our door. And then come right over it and stamp that. Okay, like so. Put that aside. All right. And then I'm going to bring in one of these lollipops and one of these gumdrops along with the two window pieces. Okay, I'm going to bring in my Coastal Cabana. All right, so one of the lollipops is going to be in Coastal Cabana. Line that up. Okay. And then, let's see, we got our little gumdrop. Make sure we got the right way up. Okay. Okay. So I could have went up a little bit higher on the gumdrop, but that'll be okay. And then for the windows, okay, on this one, it looks like these are about the same size, I think. Yeah. All right, so let me bring in some scrap paper, because when I stamp on the one side, and hopefully I'll be able to see where I'm stamping here. So I want to ink up one of the windows. And I need to see what I'm doing. Okay, there's one. And then for the second one, I do need this paper because I don't want to get ink on my Pierce mat. So hopefully I can line this up. Okay, so not bad. And put that aside. Okay, so I think we have everything in our Coastal Cabana. Okay, I do need to clean some of these stamps though, because I got the one stamp for the gumdrop and the lollipop, and we're going to need those again. Now there's two different gumdrop stamps in here. There's one that's got these little dots on it, and then there's another one that's more solid. I'm using the one that has the little dots on it. Okay, so let me get the paper out of my way. All right, so then I'm going to bring in this one other little gumdrop and my Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to ink this up. And I will stamp this. Okay, and then I got to clean my stamp again. So that way I can use it for my other color. All right, so then I have my other lollipop, and I have, let's see, I have a heart, another gumdrop, and then I'm going to stamp these in polished pink. All right, so we got the lollipop. That one stamped perfectly. And then another gumdrop. That one stamped perfectly centered. And then we have the heart. Okay, so we'll set those aside, close up the ink. We're done with our stamping. Okay, remove that out of the way, and I'll quickly go and clean these stamps. All right, so let me bring in all of my pieces here. So I'm going to bring in my liquid glue for this. And I'm going to take this scalloped roof piece. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the back of that. And then I'm just going to line that up to the roof here. Sure it's lined up on the back. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool and need the putty end. And then I'm going to add just, okay, I didn't need it to come out. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit, because I don't want to have too much glue. All right, so then one of the windows, I'm going to place that right within that stamped and embossed outline. Then we got the other window. Okay. Then we got the door. Okay. And then I have the heart. So what I'm going to do with this one, I'm just going to add a little drop. Okay, this is like coming out where I don't want it. Hold on. Get the glue off my fingers. Let me see here. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit right here, centered between that icing part and the door. And then I'm going to add this heart right here. I'm going to hold that down. Okay. Then, let's see, we're going to need that again. So I'm going to take some dimensionals for the back of this. Put one there. Okay. Let me bring in my card base. Okay, and before I put that down, I'm going to take one of my trees. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the back of this. And then I'm going to tuck this right underneath. I'm going to try to tuck it underneath. Like so. Okay, and then get the other one. And then I'm going to tuck that right over here, like so. Okay, and then let's get the house. Yeah, I can close this up because I'm done with the liquid glue. All right, and then I'm going to take this house and I'm going to place that right here. Okay, and then on these two lollipops, I'm going to add a dimensional to the back of these. The regular size dimensionals just fit on here. Okay, then I'm going to take my Coastal Cabana one. I'm going to place that one right there. And then my polished pink one is going to go right there. And then on my gumdrops, I'm going to bring in my mini dimensionals. And I find that using my pokey tool part from my Take Your Pick tool is perfect on placing these on little pieces. Okay. And then I can put this back in here now. All right, so let's see what we got here. So my polished pink one, I'm going to place this right down here. Now, I'm not worrying about making sure these are straight. You know, if they're all kind of tipsy looking, that's quite okay. It just kind of adds these stamps and the dies, they kind of give it this whimsy type of look. So I'm not so worried about making sure that these are straight. So we got that. So we got one more step. I am going to bring in the Iridescent Rhinestone Basic Jewels. What's nice about these that they are iridescent and clear, so whatever, like say for example, if you put it over DSP, you'll see that it kind of takes on the color of that paper behind it. So these had retired, I believe, with last year's annual catalog. And these are actually available in the clearance rack. This was definitely a set of embellishments that I did purchase a few packs of these when they were retiring. So it has 3 different sizes, and I'm using one of each. And then let's get a small one, and we'll put that one right over here. Okay, so there is, let me move this out of the way. So there is our first card. So let me bring in this stuff for my next card. Okay. Pull this in. Okay, make sure that I don't have any pieces stuck in my card. Okay, so this one again, I had done some die cutting and heat embossing ahead of time. So I have a piece of basic white thick. This measures 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. I have a piece of regular basic white. This is 4 by 3. And then out of a scrap, it's 4 inches wide. And it's about, I want to say, maybe 1 3/4 inches tall. And then I use that same die again to die cut that. And then I have another piece of that Celebrate Everything DSP. So this measures 4 by 3/4 inch wide. And then out of a piece of scrap basic black, I had stamped the Sending Love using the Versamark ink, and then I heat embossed it using the white embossing powder. Okay, so for this one, I am using one stamp, and that's the one with the trees. And the colors of ink that I'm using for this is Parakeet Party, Bermuda Bay, and Shaded Spruce. Okay, so I'm going to fold and burnish my card base. Okay, and then I'll set this aside. And then this piece here, I'm going to set that aside as well. And then on this piece, what I want to do, I'm going to stamp these trees randomly on here, but I want to have them lined up just below this curved line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my die cut piece and I'm going to place it right over the top of it. And then with a pencil, I'm just going to lightly trace around that slopey piece. So it's very faint. I just want it dark enough so I can see where I am stamping my trees. And then I'll go back after I stamp. I'll go back and I will then erase that. All right, so I want my Stampin' Pierce mat again. And then I also want that scrap piece of paper. Okay. All right, so on here, I'm going to grab my Parakeet Party ink. Okay, and then I'm going to ink up my tree. And I'm going to look for that pencil line. And I'm stamping it just below that pencil line. And I'm going to leave some space. And I'm going to stamp it again. Okay. And then we're going to go up here. And then I'll do it. Let me see. Let me bring in my scrap paper here. I kind of go off the side a little bit. Okay. So I'll close that up. All right. So since there's only the one stamp of the tree, I'm going to quickly clean this. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my Shaded Spruce. Ink this up, and then I'm going to come a little bit of that fuzz from my block on here. I think it's probably going to be time to get a new Stampin' scrub. I had bought that one back when I first started, when I signed up to become a demo, and that was back in October of 2013. Okay, so I'm going to put this next to that Parakeet party. And again, I'm just following that line. Let's see. Okay. I'll close that up. And we'll clean the stamp again. All right. And then I'm going to bring in Bermuda Bay. This is one of those colors when it retired I was sad. Purple is my favorite color, and then the aquas are a close second. So this one, I'm going to stamp on this end here, and part of this is going to come off of the cardstock. So that's where it helps to have that scrap paper right behind it. And then I'll add another one right here. I'll put one right in between here. And then another one right here, like so. Okay, so let's close this up. Move that out of the way. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in this piece right here, and I'm going to bring in my liquid glue. Oh, actually, before I do that, I'm going to come in with my pencil, and I'm going to erase that line. Now, I did it light enough that even if I didn't erase this, you wouldn't have seen it because it's so light. Okay, so then I'm going to add some glue to the back of this piece. Okay, and then this is going to line up right on the bottom here. Okay. Press that down. I think I got a little bit of that pencil on the edge of that die cut, so I come in. I'll just erase along that edge. Okay. And then I'm going to close up my glue. I'm done with that. All right. Then I am going to take this piece of DSP, and I'm going to take some of my seal. I'm just going to add a line of that onto the back of that. And then on my greeting, I'm going to bring in my dimensionals, and I'm going to place these dimensionals. So I'm going to put them on the bottom part here. And for this one, I'm actually going to bring in my black dimensionals, and I will add those right here on the bottom. Okay, so let me bring in my card base, and well, I need to put dimensionals on the back of this first. So let me bring those in. Let's remove all these paper backings. Move them off of my grading as well. Okay, so then this is going to line up about here, but what I want to do is I want to kind of visualize where I'm going to put this. And see. So I don't need the whole thing showing, but I do want to have it straight. Well, that is definitely not straight. Hold down just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to center that right here, like so. And then my greeting, these dimensionals are going to go onto the DSP. And I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in like glue dots. Now I have some glue dots here that are from a paper pumpkin kit. Let's see, which ones do I want? Use these. And then I need my take your pick tool. And I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to place that right here next to that greeting. And then I have some linen thread. So this linen thread is an older spool of thread. The ones that we have now, they're a little bit thicker and the coloring of it's a little bit lighter as well. Okay, so I want my loops to be a little bit big. And then I'm going to trim, need my scissors. I'm going to trim the tails on this to be about the length of my loops. Okay. And then I'm going to stick this the knot right into that glue dot. Okay. And then let's bring in these embellishments again. And I'm going to use one of each size. So I'm going to put one on the DSP, and you can see that DSP right behind it. Okay, so we have a medium size one. We'll put that one over here, and then our smaller one, we'll put that up over here. Okay, so there is our second card. So let me bring in the first one. So we played with a little bit more of that DSP, and we got a nice sweet, have a sweet Christmas with all the little candies and all that on it. And then we have one that's, you know, primarily white with that little pop of color of the red and I think that's Poppy Parade, and the polished pink DSP. We also got that pop of the black with our white embossed greeting. And then we got our shades of greens and blue greens for our trees. So there's my two projects with using the Sweet Gingerbread bundle. If you like the projects that I had made, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It does help me in not only growing the channel, but it also helps me in building my Stampin' Up! Business. So tomorrow, it will be at 7 p.m. I will be doing my Friday night live. Let me show you what I will be featuring for that. I think this is the last, well, no, it's one of the last suites in this holiday mini catalog that I'm using. So this is a big mega suite collection. It has 2 stamp and die bundles in it. It has a 3D embossing folder, some what are these, gold textured adhesive back dots, some cherry cobbler, and it says gold, but actually that edging looks more like a rose gold. So it's got that ribbon, and then it has the Season of Elegance Specialty Designer Series paper. So these are the products that I will be using in my Friday Night Live. So again, I will be going live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I hope that you can join me. What I do at the very end of my Friday Night Lives, I do a wheel of names and I choose 3 people that have added their name to that spreadsheet to win, to choose or win one of those cards, and then I mail it out to them. So I hope you can join me again. That's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And there's a couple of housekeeping items and all that of what's going on. One of them that I will mention are the new January to April and the January, February celebration brochures. We have seen them. And for this month, Stampin' Up! Has opened up their bulk catalog mailing program. This is where demonstrators can have Stampin' Up! Send the catalogs directly to their customers. If you are not working with another demonstrator and you would like a copy of those catalogs, or even if you would like um, maybe our current holiday mini catalog, we still got another month to go on that catalog. Also, our annual catalog is still going. If you would like copies of that, my email is in the description of this video. Just send me an email, let me know that you would like them. Now, this is for people that are in the United States. And again, if you're not working with another demonstrator, and I only ask that because there is a cost to the catalogs. And even if it's past the end of this month, which is when that mailing selector ends, I can still send you a catalog. But again, if you're not working with somebody else, only because there is a cost in not only purchasing, but also mail, the postage and mailing them. So um, I think that's really the biggest thing that's going on. Also, demonstrators have the opportunity to order some new online exclusives that will be going live to customers in December. I think December is when you'll be able to purchase those items. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in there as well. So I hope that you will be able to join me tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be going live about 15 minutes early, but that's just to simply to get everything set up because I'm currently unable to set up a scheduled live because YouTube, for some reason, is reverting my orientation. So I just start from the beginning. So if you see me pop on about 15 minutes earlier, then that's why. So I hope you'll be able to join me. So everyone have a blessed day, blessed evening, and I hope to see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.